I like to. Oh,
No, I had forgotten to click on the button.
Oh.
Sorry.
sorry.
Sometimes you have to remind me. I'm a bit spaced out. Always remind me when we start, click on the button. Because it's being recorded, so I will send you the recording.
Oh, that'll be good.
This is Zoom. It's a very perfected type of conference. You know, you can do many things.
Okay.
Go ahead, Shilata.
So I will recite one of the sources, one of my favorite ones, from Queen Kunti, when Krishna is just departing Vrindavan, I think. So he was going to leave them to go away, and Mata Kunti is pleading to him to stay. And that's the scene that comes in my head when I recite this one. Shrinwanti Jayanti Vinanti Abhikshasa Maranti Nandanti Kavevitam Eva Pasyanti Akirena Tavatam Bhavaprabho Paramam Padam.
Thank you.
So she's just saying, just by chanting, by singing, we already have association. Just so little we have to do to have Krishna with us. And this is her way of expressing. I don't have the complete translation in front of me. So this is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Queen Kunti is one of the greatest Rani of the history of mankind, definitely. Just by one word, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Daruka was about to fetch, he was about to whip the horses. And you know the story. And he was on his way. Daruka was about to whip the horses. And she parted through the crowd, and she just said, Krishna. And Krishna turned and smiled, and she recited the prayers of Queen Kunti, her prayers actually, which are, I mean, the gem in the history of, in terms of literature, practically, it's one of the gem prayers. Just one word of Krishna, and she stopped him. But the person is very interesting. Did Krishna was willing to go after or not? Once he had heard the prayers of Queen Kunti, what was the mood of Lord Krishna? I'm going to stop my phone. Sorry about that.
He said she's bowing down to him, and he said, "You are my Laifua, my aunt," which is Bua, and what do not. It's sort of like telling her not to bow down to him because he is his aunt. But she said, "Oh no, I know who you are. I know you are the supreme, and you are." Then she glorifies him, and
Yes.
I just right now I'm seeing him on the cart and he's stepping down.
Yeah, we have to visualize. It's very important.
Yes.
When you study Bhagavatam.
Yes, probably.
Visualization. And we can have, of course, we are online. It's difficult to have drama. Well, we can try. But we used to have drama.
Yes.
We used to have drama with Bodhichan. I mean, he was not playing, but he would enthuse us to do drama. But what I was trying to say, Srilata, Devidasi, is that did Krishna change his mind to go or not after he had heard the prayers? Because remember, he was poised on going. It's very interesting section. Did he go or not after?
I think he stays, does he?
There's something that happened, something occurred after.
He's asking him for something. He said, you keep giving me something, so I will always remember you.
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
there's a famous
Does he
verse.
really know? I think he stays. That's the part is my question too. Does he really know? I don't know. I don't remember Guru Maharaj telling that. You didn't think, no? I think he in their heart stays anyway.
You tell us, Prabhu.
Prabhu tell us.
Yes, but my question remains, did Lord Krishna part left? Did he leave the place after, of course, he dutifully listened. He was in quite happy and pleased by her prayer. But did he leave or not after?
I don't remember. I don't know.
So what happened? I don't know if you remember. Arineshta, do you have any clue on this one?
No, I don't.
Okay, so who spoke after Queen Kunti? Because he was still willing to go after, even though he relished.
Was it the time Ashvatthama threw his Brahmastra? No,
Not
that was not the
immediately.
time.
There's another great person who spoke after. Of course, it doesn't appear, I know, in the Bhagavatam. It's not in the first canto, at least. Yudhishthira.
Yudhishthira, he invited him to stay longer,
Yes,
actually.
exactly.
And he
exactly.
spent like 2 months or something.
Exactly. See the power of Yudhishthira. Kunti is no doubt. She's, I mean, the whole Vishnu Parikar, basically. Yagya Sankirtan Praya Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. They are Vishnu Parikar. But when Yudhishthira spoke, he pleaded to him, you please stay longer, because he had finished his business. In one sense, Yudhishthira had been reinthroned. The whole, in one sense, his duty was done. He could have left. He wanted to leave because in Dwarka they're missing him also. Remember? But Yudhishthira, you just imagine the power of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He convinced him. And Lord Krishna changed his mind, changed his plan, and decided to stay longer. This is the power of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So not to belittle Queen Kunti, but they're all anyway, they're all Parshadas. I would strongly advise you, Srilata, perhaps to get a mic, external mic, because your voice is a bit distant.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if I may humbly suggest.
Okay, we try a little bit closer.
Because you're a little far from the terminal, I can see. And what to speak if you had a good mic. See how close I am from the mic. I'm practically, this is important. You have a good sound.
We will try when Arinista goes closer.
Yeah. You see, it's a big plus.
Yeah, she will try now.
Okay. So anything, Arinishta Devidasi, that you want to share that really struck you, that you feel you tasted something? Bhagavatam is like that. It's gives you some taste somewhere. One particular shlok, or perhaps like Mataji said, her guru gave her the taste to carry on, There's always something. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We would do something else. Still Krishna conscious, no doubt, but why we want to spend time on with Bhagavatam? Yes.
More or less, I have also the same experience as Srilata. Guru Maharaj used to visit Mauritius and we got the opportunity to serve him personally. As Guru Maharaj stayed at my place. Again, Guru Maharaj is involved. His service is to give these 7 days Bhagavatam class. And I remember the instruction we got from Srila Prabhupada was to study Srimad Bhagavatam and always speak about Srimad Bhagavatam. So for me, I realized that Srimad Bhagavatam should be something very special. So that was in the beginning. And I have lots of treasures that I received from Guru Maharaj. And especially there's one verse in Bhagavatam that is struck me, and I've been always contemplating on that verse, which is from Canto 2, chapter 8, text 4, where it's mentioned someone who hears Bhagavatam regularly and are always taking the matter very seriously will have the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, manifested in their hearts within a short time.
Yes.
So we love Krishna, and I want to know him. I want him to manifest in my heart.
Yes.
And also,
But isn't Krishna in your heart as yet?
he is in my heart, but I think I need to clean the mirror of my heart so that I can see Krishna more clearly.
But what does Krishna, Sutta Goswami says in this regard? You're saying, okay, I need to cleanse my heart, then Krishna will appear. Is it the proper process?
No, Krishna is there.
Yes.
It's on my, he has done everything. I have to make the effort on my end. So,
and what kind of effort we can do to cleanse our hearts, according to Sutta Goswami, in the second chapter, first canto, there's a particular process which is extremely quick. Krishna is doing the job, provided Srinvatam Svakata Krishna Punyashravan Kirtanaha. You don't trust the Bhajani Vidunuti Surit Satam. It's very clear. Sutta Goswami is saying that if we have an inclination towards Krishna Katha, Krishna is witnessing that, and he will take it upon himself to cleanse the heart of that rapt listener. He has this tendency to hear that Krishna will cleanse his heart, as in a reciprocal manner, he will cleanse the heart in proportion to his aspiration, inclination to hear.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's wonderful what you're saying, basically.
Yeah, and for me being a teacher, I give Bhagavatam class and morning Bhagavatam class, and I do give Sunday Peace class also. So I feel that the studying of Bhakti of Srimad Bhagavatam systematically is something I need also.
Is the Bhagavatam, thank you to put me on the track because I wanted to share that point. Is the Bhagavatam chronological or systematic? Because when you read a book, even Gita, you cannot deny it, there's some chronology in the Gita. You can see Arjuna's Pancham, he has the Pansashamshaya, the 5 vows. Then Krishna all along the Gita is going to dismantle those doubts. And at the end of the day, 1873, yes, Krishna, I'm all ready. I'm poised, I'm equipoised, I'm ready to fight. He's grabbing his Gandiva bow. This is the epitome of the book. And then the battle's going to start. Is the Srimad Bhagavatam laid out the same way? Is it laid out in a systematic, chronological manner? Did you notice? Yes or no?
I learned that Srimad Bhagavatam is like a fruit.
It's like a?
It's like a fruit.
A fruit, okay.
Yeah. So from anywhere you buy.
Yes, true.
You can enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So why is it not chronological? Because it's true, it's not chronological. I'll give you an example. Mushalya Lila, What is Moshalia Lila? Krishna, it's a very painful lila for devotees. Moshalia means Lord Krishna disappeared. That should be at the end. Already we're seeing that very early in the beginning of the third canto. So all this to say that it is not at all chronological. So why? Who wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam? Who wrote it? Did I lose them? Oh, I think I lost you.
So
Yeah.
what,
Oh, it's
what
coming
are-
back.
Yeah, I think I lost you.
We lost you, yeah.
Yeah. I told my boy not to go on internet, while I'm teaching, but sometimes he doesn't listen. Okay.
So, yeah, what I'll try to do, I'll try to connect from my phone.
You try to what?
I'll try to log in from my phone because the computer is not really.
Yeah,
Maybe
you guys should definitely get a good mic, get a good connection, because that's why we have to put everything on the table. We should have a clear. If you have a good mic like this, this is like 50 euros or something. And you should be closer to the mic. It should be a good connection. You live in America, you live in Canada. I mean, there's no problem there.
Is my outside mic, external mic is okay, or are you?
You're fine. You're totally fine. You're
Okay.
totally
We'll
fine.
be able to fix this up, Prabhu.
Yeah,
It's not
please do,
possible.
because of course, this is the first day we are putting things together. We are sorting out the administration. We're going to discuss, but we should have at least the sound system should be packed up. Definitely.
Okay. So I'll try on my phone, Prabhu.
But I can see you now, Arinishta Devidasi. I can see
No,
you.
it's about the audio.
No, but I can see you. I can hear you. You're fine. You're totally fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we heard from Shilata Devidasi Arinishta. Okay, Prabhu, would you like to share perhaps what made you, reawaken to Srimad Bhagavatam? Because it's a task. I mean, let's face it, you're gonna have to write essays, you're gonna have to write closed book. There's a lot of shloks to learn. It's 3 years and something, it's not a joke. It takes commitment, it takes focus.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
cannot deny it.
that's exactly, why I'm inspired to study with you, because I have a tendency to be, lazy, and I never stopped really reading Srimad Bhagavatam, but to do it in a systematic way, I never done it. Even I hear about devotees reading 10 times, 14 times Srimad Bhagavatam. I must say, I read it only once from start to finish, in order, Otherwise, I'm just going, now I'm starting again, and again, going through the cantos, maybe twice, but not fully, really fully only once actually. And otherwise I go from one canto, this canto, that canto. Now I'm more systematic, but I'm reading again at second canto now. And but what I'm saying, for me, chanting Hare Krishna is sometimes difficult, especially when I'm staying alone, at home, not chanting with devotees. I can go on sometime for 16 rounds without really, listening to my rounds. But I find that I cannot do this when I read Srimad Bhagavatam, because, it's after 2 purports, if you don't concentrate on what you read, it's
Yeah.
What is the use? Sometimes you read a purport, and I read a purport and I realized I didn't, record anything. So I start again. And then I noticed that usually after a few minutes, the absorption starts, the test comes, and then, you can go on. I can go on for, some time like this and studying. And for me, really the best times I had in Krishna consciousness was either in kirtan or either in attending classes. And I must say even that the most inspiring times I had in Krishna consciousness when, you know, the devotee who gave class was really, you know, connected and really inspiring. And I felt not only me, but I felt that all the devotees in the room, you know, were like in perfect osmosis, you know, and forgot about everything. Basically, you could find yourself, you know, you would say in Vaikuntha, you know, at that time, you know. And so I would say that for me, it's the most inspiring activity in Krishna consciousness. I think the most reuniting, it's like in a festival. When there is a festival, for me, the climax is actually the class. And I see that devotees, they really drink, you know, they really drink the class when it's like very inspiring, and it's like everybody is a devotee, but the devotee especially who started to be, you know, as a sadhaka, is like they need this and they want this actually, and many times we are not to the, how you say, to the mark, up to the mark, I think. And it's like I don't think there is even a better service to give to the devotees than giving an inspiring class, actually, because they feel so inspired to go on in devotional service. Their faith is so rebuilt and strengthened. So this is like in a practical, you know, in Krishna consciousness, why I feel inspired. And I like the first canto, maybe because I studied so many times and never went, you know, like, but I really like the first canto because it's the whole story of how Srimad Bhagavatam appeared. And I like the story of Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, you know, and I like these sequences. I try to learn sometime, I mean, few sequences like this of verses, and I like the one when Vyasadeva gets his realization, God realization. And the last verse, which is like Yasyam Veshu Yamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhakti Rupadete Pumsa Shoka Moha Bhayapaha.
Yes.
That just by giving oral reception to the Srimad Bhagavatam Yasyam Veshu Yamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe, it's very clear, it's to Krishna, that Bhakti Rupadete Pumsa, and that it's awaken this Krishna consciousness, love of Krishna. And Shoka Moha Bhayapaha, and I feel, you know, that, and then, you know, lamentation, fear goes away from the heart. So I'm afraid to suffer. I must say, I don't want to suffer. I don't want to be lamentation, fear, and so yeah, I'm very inspired by these sequences, Nigama, Kalpataro, Gaitam Phalam, all these verses. And you know, it's like when you read Srila Prabhupada's books, I mean, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's like 2 days ago, we are reading first canto every morning with my wife, one verse. And, you know, we always come across these verses or this quoting by Prabhupada, you know, like we came across this Prabhupada is saying in that's the first canto, chapter 15, text 51. And that's actually the last verse of the chapter 15th chapter, and one this kind of thing Prabhupada says, you know, what he says here. By the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can attain the highest perfection of life, namely going back home, back to Godhead, without failure.
Yes. So
that's the kind of thing you read, you know, almost every day in Prabhupada's purport. So, and you know, I need to be convinced by intelligence, you know, and that's why I need really to absorb the Shastras, because I have a very strong mind. And also the last point is when I hear about all the acharyas in our line, you know, starting of course by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what was he doing in Puri? You know, he was just chanting the holy name and listening and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam.
Exactly, yeah.
And all the Goswamis, Gadadhar Pandit, he would not, I heard recently that he didn't even he didn't even think about writing a book. That's why he never wrote a book, Raghunath Bhatta, because he was so absorbed in Srimad Bhagavatam that never came to his mind that he could write something, you know. So the Indradyumna Maharaj was explaining.
Yeah, true.
And of course, you know, Prabhupada, You know, he came the only thing he brought with him from India was the chunks of Bhagavatam. And the last thing he did was translating Bhagavatam on his deathbed.
Yeah.
So I'm not very intelligent. My Shraddha is very weak. But when I see all these perfect persons with perfect character, you know, that they always glorify Bhagavatam as their, like you read these shlokas from Sanatana Goswami. So I think, you know, I'm trying to be convinced and more, you know, I think, okay, let's go for it, you know, because, and last point, and sometime at one point, I also thought a little bit like some devotees think that, you know, this Bhagavatam, you know, how it relates to our modern times, you know, with all this, you know, all these stories, all these things, it's not, you know, I see many devotees are even either living Krishna consciousness, or even if they are still devotees, they don't read Bhagavatam, they think it's for another age or something. But actually, the culture and the time has changed, and but the essence is always exactly the same. like we are the guys with the same problems, and you know, women have the same problems. So I think it's completely up to date. You say?
Yes, up to date.
Up to date. You know, so yeah, like what we read this morning. You read this morning. You know, it's like this relationship between man and woman, and this is eternally valid. So all these points of Bhagavatam, even though in another context, you know, we have these vimanas and kings and all these things so different from our modern times, but the essence is the same. The problems are the same. The solution is the same. So that's why, you know, I want to read Bhagavatam.
Thank you for wonderful realizations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, before I met Burijan Prabhu, I had studied Srimad Bhagavatam on my own. Took me 13 years. I joined because of Srimad Bhagavatam. I have to be honest. If it wasn't for Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't think I'll be in that movement anymore. Because I have to admit, my taste is quite mediocre in everything except Srimad Bhagavatam. So I joined because of Srimad Bhagavatam, because Panchatattva Prabhu, who is still around actually, he sold me a book on a shopping mall. And prior to that, my boss, I used to work in life insurance, he was a Templar himself, and he had lent me Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, he was kind of lending me books, esoteric books, the Templars, Lord Jesus Christ, and one day he lent me a portion of the first canto. And I read it through. And everything kind of struck into a ball, you know, like snowballing. Then I met my brother. My brother told me about a couple, devotee of Krishna. Then they took me to the restaurant in Paris. And on top of that, Panchatattva sold me the books. And I started reading three hours a day. And then I remember my first thought, I wish I hadn't met those books. Because I was thinking, my life is finished. I was not like suffering or struggling financially, not at all. But when I read this absolute philosophy, I don't see any flaw. I don't see any flaw. Even in those days, there's no flaw. Then it occurred to me, and then I was into I was a salesman, and this Panchatattva was such a good salesman. And I found out he has no commission out of it. So what is the trick? He's selling a book who has no flaw. He doesn't make any money out of it. There's something going on. So I joined because of that. I said, what's going on in this movement? It doesn't make any money. He's a better salesman than me. I'm reading his book, there's no flaw. So I was intrigued, basically. And then Bhagavan Prabhu in those days, he kind of tricked me into Krishna consciousness. I was not so much willing. And next minute, I'm distributing Bhagavatam in the streets. I mean, on door to door, Bhagavad Gita. But I remember in those days, what is the motto? Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't distribute one book. Fredas Prabhu used to tell us, distribute the full set. So, you know, like Bhagavatam started in my life even before I joined. And then, of course, I studied on my own. And I was quite diligent, taking notes, you know, rereading my notes before I start again reading the book for the day. But when I met Buddha Prabhu, that was a different story. I was kind of equipped, but this is why I understood. Shushru Sho Shadaranasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. If you serve a devotee who has no vice, what is the benefit? You get to taste ruchi for Srimad Bhagavatam, an affinity. So this is what happened to me. I was serving Buddha Prabhu and do this, do that. So, and I gained the affinity. So this is a very nice process. And then it opened an whole vista. Even you may be in Krishna consciousness, but I found that Srimad Bhagavatam opens up another vista within Krishna consciousness. You know, and practically, I mean, under the care of Bodhidharma Prabhu, he has this capability to unpack. He can unpack the shlok. He can unpack the section. He brings you into the section. And I was thinking, I mean, who is he? Was he there with Krishna? And of course, my Guru Maharaj, you know, he had this. Why did I take initiation from him? Because he was so expert in the lives of the acharyas, as if he was there. Of course, he reads Sanskrit verbatim and he reads Bengali, Bhakti Chandra Maharaj. But he would take us into the lives of the acharyas. And what do they do? Like Sundar Prabhu is saying, they're glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. So I have to admit, for me, Srimad Bhagavatam was the main factor in my spiritual life. It still is, actually. So, and I have to admit that the key person is Bodhidharma Prabhu. It's without any doubt. And of course, I would advise you, as you study, there's other books you can consult. There's, for instance, Bhagavat Subodhini, Gauranga Darshan. Bodhidharma Prabhu has written Unveiling the Lotus Feet of Lord Krishna. There's no harm in supporting, you know, supporting your Prabhupada's reading by those other books. There's absolutely no harm. So now I want to share from that book of Gauranga Darshan a beautiful poetic simile. He's quite a poetic person. He's from Chopati. Of course, he must be drawing from Krishna book, I can see, but still he has put it in a nice way. In the rainy season, muddy paths in villages are often not used, and thus they get covered with grass. Similarly, when authentic scriptures are not studied and followed for long, pure knowledge becomes covered by speculative and unwanted theories that misdirect human society. Vedic scriptures present pristine wisdom descending directly from the Supreme Lord, showing us the path of transcending miseries and going back to Garden. When thick grass covers a pathway, it is difficult to walk on that path. Or sometimes the path is not even recognized. And this is the simile that I love because it's very pertinent. Similarly, if one generation chooses not to study, understand, apply, and spread the knowledge of the scriptures, the later generation would have no precedence and inspiration to study or follow them, or even become aware of them. So Buddhajan Prabhu was very keen on that. Practically, he would not take us back the next year. He would assess, what did you do with that learning that you got? What did you do? How did you capitalize on it? So we had to show him, yes, we did that, Prabhu. We did this, distributing books, teaching. It has to be in correlation with Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he would take us back. Otherwise, he may not have taken us back. You know, he was molding us. And he was always making the same point. You paved the way for future generations. We have children, grandchildren. This is our duty. If we stop now, if there is no core group, even within ISKCON that studies Srimad Bhagavatam, there will be no legacy. So it's important to, especially if you have been graced and blessed by Srimad Bhagavatam, why would you stop? It's incumbent upon you to pass on for future generations of devotees even. Because 1 hour a day, it's okay, but it's not sufficient to delve within the Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, that is why, ladies, here you are blessed by your guru. He is himself Bhagavat personified, so you're very lucky. But you can see behind the motivation in our heart, there was someone who instigated that, a Bhagavat person, Prabhupada, of course, but also behind Srila Prabhupada, other Bhagavat persons. So you've been blessed by Radha Damodar Maharaj, Buddhajan Prabhu, myself. So this is a legacy, and we have to understand it's a legacy. Bhagavatam is unfolding with outside and within our heart also. It's a two-way traffic. It's inside and outside. And Buddhajan used to really give us the taste and even show us. He would share his realizations, you know. So we were quite taken together in the spiritual world practically. So it's a matter of guiding the future generations, I would say. Huh? Okay, so thank you for sharing. It's important to be on the same page. We're going to be together. We're going to be. By the way, I want to make it clear here that I'm not your teacher. I'm a facilitator. My pedagogy, I was trained by Rasamandal Prabhu from UK, his Prabhupada disciple. And he used to train us as facilitators. You know, who am I to teach you Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is totally transcendental. But we can facilitate each other in sharing. And of course, systematically, that's the goal of this course. We should not just linger forever. Today, we're a bit lingering, I have to admit. But that would, from next one, is going to be systematic. But we have to touch base with one another anyway. So it's important to spend a couple of hours like this. I want to discuss about administration a little bit because it's important. If we want to be systematic, we have to go through the paperwork a little bit. Please don't mind. Before I touch on the administration, I didn't finish my point. It's not chronological, but it is systematic. So what makes it systematic? What did Vyasadeva had in mind when he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam? Because he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. I remember he was not satisfied in the 5th chapter of 1st canto. He himself came to the conclusion, I didn't glorify enough Lord Krishna. Yes, Narad corroborated. Then he was left alone. What happened after that?
He meditated and he had the vision of Krishna and Maya.
Yes, exactly. Srila Prabhupada, Buddhajan Prabhu explained those 4 verses there, 1, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. They form the foundation of Srimad Bhagavatam. perhaps for the ladies, we can quote the first one, so at least they know what we're talking about, because Sundar knows. The very first one is in the beginning of the 7th chapter. Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Male Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Chadada Pashayam. So he fixed his mind, yesterday fixed his mind, perfectly engaging it by linking it with devotional service to the Lord. Pure bhakti, no tinge of materialism. Then he saw Krishna. And behind he saw Maya. And we had the threshold of Kali Yuga, remember? And he was wondering to himself, how can I be able to save these people? They don't have the brain to delve into Vedanta Sutra. Sutra means aphorisms, it's very terse. So I have to facilitate, same story, facilitation. Srimad Bhagavatam is a facilitation. It's a personified facilitation of the Lord. Buddhism used to say, Prabhu, it's a compressor. You have a compressor in your laptop. What's the purpose of a compressor in your laptop?
To go faster?
Yeah, it activates, it processes the data. When you click on your laptop, did you notice? Everything comes to the surface. There's a processor. More powerful the processor is, more your laptop will react quickly, isn't it? So Buddhism Prabhu used to tell us this is the processor of your spiritual life. It's going to process your spiritual life unimaginably. It's a processor. It's a very powerful processor. So, yes, I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page. It's not chronological. Vyasadeva had, this is his genius, if you ask me. Systematically, he has presented the Srimad Bhagavatam to uplift the consciousness of the reader. That is why it is not systematic. We were discussing with Sundar Prabhu the other day. We find the 10 topics, we know. Sarga, Visarga, Stanam, Pushanam, Uttayaha. We know the 10 topics. But they are not meticulously sticking to one canto in particular. They are scattered. Jiva Goswami explained, they are scattered through the 10 topics, except for the 10th canto, which is basically Ashraya, the Samambanam, Krishna Lila. So bear in mind that it is not chronological, but it is systematic. That is why Prabhupada was so keen, remember. We may jump here and there, but if we want to derive the main benefit systematically from the first page of first canto till the last page of the 12th canto. And then we can have a thematic study. You will see in that class, we're going to study systematic, but at times we may have thematic. So systematic is horizontal, thematic means vertical. You follow? So on the level of Bhakti Vibhav, you should be able to, at the end of the day, to extract a particular topic that you like and share it with the audience. You're going to have verbal, oral presentation. You're going to be assessed not only by me, but by the other members of the assembly. See, because we should be able to speak Bhagavatam and to write also. Anyway, let's get into the administration a little bit.
Babu, at this point, I have a practical question.
Yes.
Are we supposed to take notes, or is it better to take notes, or just listen and we don't have to take notes basically? What is the
you're gonna get the recording, but personally I would take a lot of notes on the Buddhism. I notice when you write what the speaker says, it tends to go further in. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the ladies, but there's no harm. At least for me, it works. It
Yeah,
works.
me too.
Yeah.
I like to take notes while I listen.
Yeah, I don't think it's a no. Huh? You can get the recording, but be proactive. Take notes. It's going to be also interactive. We're only 4 of us. We're on the same page, so we're going to be sharing a lot of things together.
Yeah.
I'll take 1 minute because I have to go and to the toilet, pass water. Just bear with me. I'll be right back.
I'll give a phone call then.
Yeah, you can also do so if you want. Hare Krishna. I'll stop the recording.